They say every time a bell rings, a Kickstarter gets its funding. We're here to help you find some of the more interesting Kickstarters for the week of December 10th, 2018.
Tainted Grail leads the pack this week from Awaken Realms. This is a huge game set in kind of an apocalyptic version of Avalon from the King Arthur legends. It is cooperative. You'll be playing with your friends, choosing characters, and progressing through a campaign which takes place over many chapters, and there is a big old book with lots of different story elements that you can read through. Essentially, the way the game plays is there are going to be multiple locations printed on cards on the field. You're going to be moving throughout those locations, exploring them. Sometimes they'll reward you with some story elements, a choice to make, tell you where to look in the book. Sometimes they could result in combat. The combat system is really interesting in this game. Basically, each player has a combat deck and a diplomacy deck, because sometimes you could fight or talk your way out of an encounter. And they both work similarly in that you're trying to play cards to match a certain number that your opponent has, but you need to be able to link them based on images on the side of each card that show that they push together in the right way. And the enemy might do something to block or get rid of those cards, and you kind of go back and forth and sort of trying to solve a little mini puzzle for your combat encounter, which is pretty cool. And as I said, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. There's a big old campaign. There's a lot of lore. There's a lot of depth. You're traversing this world together with your friends. This is also one that has a separate tier for miniatures, so if you want, you can spend like an extra $50 or so to get these insane looking miniatures just for the monsters, so you can play with those as you go. But in general, it just looks like a really cool role-playing adventure hybrid, like we've seen sort of in the vein of a Gloomhaven, but not a dungeon crawler. It seems more simplified in the terms of what you're actually doing on the board.
It reminded me a bit more, at least the card style of like Arkham Horror, the living card game, where you sort of have the cards as locations and
yeah,
stuff.
I think kind of like that. Yeah.
And also, once again, I want to praise it for actually not being forced to have to get the minis.
Right.
Because I'd like to see that more from games, because just lowering the price, sometimes some people who maybe aren't good at painting minis just be like, oh, this is perfect.
Yeah. You will still get some minis even in that core set, but not these insane looking ones that are in there. I think they give like CMON, like Rising Sun minis a run for their money. Like, they're pretty crazy looking. So if you have the time and the play group for a huge game like this, I definitely wish that we did.
That's what I'm wishing for from Santa this year.
That's right. Check out Tainted Grail. It's $89.
From Purple Meeple Games, we have Cultistorm. This game is supposed to be sort of a homage to Lovecraftian lore, which is actually quite plentiful in the board game universe. So they tried to make some differences by first, they wanted to capture the idea of that deep lore and sort of stories that Lovecraft wrote. So they actually got 15 writers, as well as, of course, some of their own, to write sort of short stories, as well as maybe more deep encounters for each cultist and monster you actually will come across. This means that you can either read these encounters when you're actually playing the game and get a lot more flavor than you would expect from maybe like 1 or 2 lines of flavor text on a card, which apparently will add different and unique abilities. In addition, they actually also hired someone to write a soundtrack for the game, which is actually, I think, a big thing. We see Flying Frog do this a lot with their games, and I'm always a big proponent of it because just a little bit of ambience can always help. And then, of course, you actually have 3 expansions out of the many they have planned already in your campaign. You've got one that adds an Overlord, so it's the 1v-all, one that adds a campaign, and one that adds solo mode. So they're trying to make sure this game also fits whatever your playgroup wants. It all comes in this special box. It's actually designed to look sort of like an evil tome with eyes. You can see sort of in the picture behind me. And that's pretty cool. This does come at $139, which is pretty steep, bigger than the one you mentioned.
I think that's almost the same price as mine with the miniatures added.
This does come with miniatures, so that probably is where this comes from. I do hope that, because that's got to be what carries it, that those encounters that you each read and really feel like when you read, you come across maybe a unique kind of deep one. It has their little story for it. And then the game mechanics they say they bring into it really shine. Because $139 is a steep price. But it does look really, if you do like Lovecraft, it's maybe something to look into. That tome looks probably just like a great enough set piece by itself. And combined with the idea of you're getting a bunch of short stories, the soundtrack, which, especially for Lovecraft games, that seems like such a no-brainer.
You want that ambiance, baby.
But you can check out this Kickstarter or leave it to your dreams.
There's a role-playing game for you. It's called Tale from designer Hans Olaf Erkonrad, which I'm sure I said correctly. And this is a special sort of RPG. In fact, on the page itself, they admit right away, if you read it, that there are many RPGs out there you could buy, and why is this one any different? And there are some cool things about it. For one, it is a totally unique universe, an original creation. The classes are all very different. There's no standard wizard, bard, rogue. There's some cool ones in there, such as linguist, dancer, lore master is one. You could be an alchemist, an herbalist. There are some really interesting, neat ones in there. And of course, they designed it to be simple. They wanted to be able to set up a character in only 30 minutes. So you could sit down, invite people to the table, immediately start playing. And that kind of goes for the other side of things as well, the DM side of things, wherein a lot of what it comes with are these quests, and they will be very simple kind of prompts. And they have a guideline for you to fill in the blanks for those prompts. So it's really encouraging the people who are running the games to personalize them and make the NPCs what they want them to be. So, it is a fantasy world. It does have, judging from what they have in the Kickstarter and what you can see behind us, some pretty cool looking artwork. And it just sounded like a neat one in a different kind of setting than we're used to.
Now, did they have any prompts to help you out with when the entire team decides, the quest is that way, we're going this way?
I hope that they do, but they probably don't. If you want to find out for yourself, you can check out Tale. It goes for $12 for that digital version, or $29 if you want the physical copy, which also comes with a set of diplomas, by the way, that are related to the different classes, which is kind of cool. So you might want to check that out.
Finally, we're going to relax a bit with the tea game Chai. In this game, you are running tea stores and you must serve the recipes for your customers. To do so, you'll have to gather ingredients. And what's interesting is the marketplace is sort of separated in the cost of 1, 2, and 3. And the way the pieces lay out and go together, you will actually pay for all the pieces touching of the same thing. So if you wanted the lemons and there were 3 together, you will buy all 3. This adds an interesting aspect because you want to sort of puzzle your way to maybe get not only more ingredients, but maybe get them all in the one slot so you don't have to pay for less. This is pretty cool. And of course, just making the recipes and paying for customers also was a bit more relaxing, like actually drinking a nice cup of tea. And there are some other things as well, like there's a bag where you can buy sort of more unique ingredients, such as like honey and things like that. And it just looked like a simple but really fun game of gathering resources with that little twist, I think, that made it a bit more fun.
A lemon twist?
Maybe.
Yeah, I like the look of this one. Themes like this always appeal to me, where it's just a simple food or drink based.
We're always hungry.
It's pleasing, it's calming. I really like that cute art style. The marketplace thing sounds pretty interesting too. And I'm a big fan of chai.
Oh yeah,
chai. I had some chai tea that helped me out when we were at PAX Unplugged, and I was losing my voice all weekend.
I'm more of an Earl Grey myself.
Oh well, then I guess you have to wait for the Earl Grey expansion. Anyway, how much does this game go for?
So this goes for $50. I think it probably looks reasonable for all the pieces that come in there, like cups and stuff, and sort of that mid-tier. I guess you can call it sort of Euro resource management kind of game. You can let us know if you're backing this. Also, let us know what's your favorite tea.
Those are our Kickstarter picks for the week. Definitely let us know if there's any that we missed that looked cool to you. And before we go, we want to point out that we're going to be doing a special live stream this coming Saturday, December 15th, at our Twitch channel, which is twitch.tv/rollforcritlive. Link down below. Starting at noon. This is for the Extra Life Charity Foundation. I know we're late, but we're doing it in December this year.
Yeah, we were busy in November, but we decided we'll do this now so we can give to the kids, and maybe we can give some board games. Probably just 1 or 2. Maybe they'll get a Keyforge deck.
Oh, that'd be a good one.
Hopefully it won't have a bad name.
So those are always a lot of fun. Definitely, if you're around on Saturday, check out our live stream for that. Otherwise, those were our picks, my friends. Hope you liked them. I'm Jonathan.
And I'm the ghost of Board Games Past.
There you go. Bringing it in for the holiday season. And this was our Kickstarter Pickstarter. Make sure you click the like and subscribe buttons so you get more board game content from Roll for Crit.
Do it. Do it now.